Coming up on Open for Business, we talk with Lakeshore Learning. Today on Open for Business, we're highlighting Lakeshore Learning and their partnership with Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Here today to provide more insight are Patty Clark and Bobby Brennan from Lakeshore Learning. Remember to scan the QR code to send your questions and feedback for today's guests. Hello and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having us.
I'm excited to have you here because everywhere I go, I see a little bit of your stuff. And so before we go any deeper than that, I'd like for you to introduce yourself. So
Sure.
Let us know who you are and what you do with Lakeshore.
Okay, so my name is Patty Clark, and I am the Chief Academic Officer at Lakeshore. Been there now for 25 years. Started my career as a teacher. I taught in the public school system for 10 years, and then went to Lakeshore initially as a product developer, and kind of tried lots of different roles within Lakeshore, and currently serve as Chief Academic Officer.
Yep, and I'm Bobby Brennan. I'm the regional sales manager for Lakeshore in the local region. I live in Baltimore, Maryland, but I'm serving Anne Arundel County as well. So I'm kind of that true local boots on the ground support for the school district in Anne Arundel County, as well as the actual schools, principals, and teachers.
You know, just looking at where you are in both of your journeys in the company, I think something that's interesting is that you help create the things that he's out here connecting to the community. So what are some of the things that you've looked at that you like, okay, this is our community outreach that you're like, I really liked those things that we've done, because you have different perspectives, and I think
Right.
it's good to see both of those.
Right. Well, number one, we love working with schools and school districts. And, it's always been kind of a shining principle for us that we're just not a provider of services and products, we're a partner. So we love to come in and work with districts and schools on what are their goals, what's keeping them up at night, where do they need support, and helping to really figure out what are the best ways to support, whether it's providing new classrooms for pre-K expansions or refurbishing classrooms to a 21st century environment, providing materials for summer school, for after school, for small group centers within a classroom to really support skills. I love doing that. I also love that we work a lot with different organizations and nonprofits doing some amazing things in the community too.
Yeah, I think those are great points. And I think even and more so to Patty's point and specific to Anne Arundel County, we really like going out and rubbing rocks really to listen and learn to not only what the school district and our partners in early childhood and in elementary education are telling us from the school district level, but also making the site visits, listening to the principals and different initiatives that they're aiming to focus on in the school year, and trying to help support those with the materials and products that Patty used to design and that are currently in our catalogs.
And just sort of talking about, from going from the higher to the more local level.
Yeah.
You talked about working with different organizations within the school system. So you've worked with our school system, but also with our education foundation.
Yep.
And I think that's something interesting that you say, well, specifically to Anne Arundel County, what are some of the insights that you felt have been most powerful for both of you to kind of see, because you're seeing it from different levels,
Right.
about how working with this school system does this.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Sure, absolutely. And I think the thing that comes first to mind is how we're able to support the different calendar of events that the Education Foundation proposes, right? So the superintendent's brunch with Dr. Bedell, when he had first joined in the county, we were able to be a co-sponsor for that event and be able to be a part of that brunch and the meet and greet process that embedded, as well as being able to be in a position to support the Teacher of the Year event, of last year, to support things not only financially, but also in terms of intentionally sampling products that we hear are needed in the different schools. And sure, yeah.
And I think working with Anne Arundel County at really supporting the Judy centers that are opening up and outfitting those and making sure that they have all the materials they need to impact those communities as well, has been really warms my heart.
Absolutely.
And I think the thing that's really amazing is what you were talking about, because you work with a variety of levels, but
Yep.
just sort of forecasting for the future. Schools are consistently changing and growing. I mean,
Yes.
there's more kids,
Yes.
and so you have to build and change schools. And so you look at that. We've opened several schools this year, but every year in the school district, and you get an opportunity to be a part of that
Yes.
that
Yeah.
process,
Yes.
because new teachers, new spaces, new students. So looking at that, because you serve a wide variety, because yes, while you're in Anne Arundel County, you're in other places.
Yes.
Sure.
And so just sort of thinking about that, if you could project a little bit about what you're looking forward to, because you probably have things on the horizon that you're going to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
and a few examples about like what's coming down the line for you that you're really excited about for Lakeshore Learning.
Well, we've been really focused on, we have our wonderful materials that provide small group centers and learning hands-on manipulatives for teachers, but we've been really focused on looking at the whole environment. Schools are changing. Business leaders are calling for, hey, it's not just reading, writing, and arithmetic. We need to teach them to collaborate and communicate, and the working world looks different, and so the classrooms need to change and look different. And so we also, on top of the materials, we also design and manufacture classroom furniture. And because our developers have been in the classroom, they really think about what's the choreography, how a classroom works, what do they need? I get to go out and talk to principals and teachers and superintendents all the time, and then we work closely with kind of transforming either new schools or even existing schools. I'll give you an example. We were just working with a school district who one of their schools was up for, it's not a new school, but up for, their furniture was falling apart. So it was time to reinvent that. They also were really looking to improve attendance and to improve student-teacher interaction. And so we came in as a partner, and what they decided to do was, let's do one room first as a pilot room. And we sat with the principal and the teacher and the superintendent, and we kind of designed that room together with flexible mobile furniture so they could move things around, trying some different flexible seating. And then they had that for 6 months. And then we went back and said, what works, what worked, what didn't work, how would you want to change it? And then from there, we were really able to think about what every classroom and every space should look like, and then outfitted that. And now they're keeping data, and they're actually seeing principals going in and kind of recording to student-teacher interactions, and it's really increased, and so has their attendance as well. I got to go in and talk to a student, and one of the questions I asked was, so as you change this environment, or as you got your new classroom, what's one thing you notice? And he told me, well, our teacher spends more time with us. And I said, really? Tell me a little bit more about that. And it all had to do with the way the seating and the desks were able to be moved around, that the teachers brought stools and actually sat with groups as they were working, and the students felt like, wow, my teacher's spending more time with us, and the teachers are loving it too.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you have the opportunity to be innovators
Yeah.
in a way that people probably they don't see
Mhm.
that you'd be. I mean, it's important to understand that relationship with
Right.
business owners, and I know
Right.
even on the local level, you're
Right.
looking and saying, hey, well, these types of businesses are here, so let's create a partnership or
Mhm.
understanding a relationship with those businesses to know, okay, this is what they want, so let's connect with
Yes.
that, and
Yes.
you have a chance to let them know.
Yes.
And I think so.
Yes.
Your roles are
Yes.
important in that way.
Yeah, and I think just to add on to Patty's point, I think that Lakeshore has been known as an early childhood company, which we are, and we've been around for 70 years, but we're actually breaking into that space with the elementary and even the middle school and high school furniture now. So a lot of things that I'm personally hearing in Anne Arundel is we want to do school differently. We want to learn differently. So it's not always going to be rows of desks and chairs in a line now. It's going to be more of that flexible furniture and the really the 21st century learning environment feel. So we've been hearing that a lot, and we're listening and learning, kind of like I previously mentioned, and we're certainly excited to see how that continues to evolve next year and years to come.
Mhm.
It's so important to understand, so people understand, and shows like this are ones where we understand that education and partnerships
Mhm.
are necessary to coexist and advance, because like we really don't know what's coming next, but you can see what's coming by being present. And so companies like
Mhm.
yours are important for organizations like ours to
Right.
say, hey, let's find some partners to help us do what we do,
Mhm.
and maybe do it a little better.
Mhm.
So looking at that, and as we get close to closing, what are some things that you want people to know about Lakeshore, regionally and sort of more nationally, that would be super valuable to them
Mhm.
and appreciate what you do more? In addition to that, the best way to kind of be in contact with you
Sure.
and to get feedback from those people.
Sure. Well, I think, right, one of our, like I was mentioning, our biggest goals would be we love to be a partner to really figure out what are specific goals and needs of Anne Arundel County or anywhere else and help co-create what materials or spaces or things that we can do to support that. I also love to share, like I was mentioning, we also work really closely with a lot of nonprofits. And a couple of my favorites are one being Laundry Cares Foundation, which is actually a nonprofit that was started by the coin laundry operators. And they work with owners of laundromats to actually set up read, learn, and play corners in laundromats in those communities. Because imagine if you're going to the laundromat and spending an hour or two doing that, why not have a nice place where kids have books and games and activities where parents can interact with them? And so we've been able to come alongside with them and help support putting those into laundromats as well. And then, Bobby, I don't know if you want to talk about our stores at all,
I'd
because
love
our
to.
stores are doing so many things in the community too.
Yep, absolutely. I'm happy you mentioned that because our store is a very pivotal part of our business and our retail side. Local to Anne Arundel, we have our store in Townsend, Maryland, just north of Baltimore, as well as Alexandria, Virginia. And the stores are very good at supporting the different schools, just like I know myself as a rep, but there's different events that happen during the weekends, primarily on Saturday mornings to support. For example, upcoming in December is our Gifts for Growing Minds, where the store will actually be able to be shut down for certain period of time to support family engagement, as well as we have the ability to do shopping parties. And what really that means is that different principals from schools and their teachers and administrative colleagues can come in and we'll shut down the store and do kind of a private shopping event for them. Um, and I think that's a really great way for the schools to kind of visit, get hands-on with our materials, as well as kind of give the store a reason to be supportive as well and be a great partner for the schools in the school district.
Excellent. So, if there's sort of an online way to visit you all, where would you suggest people go for that?
Well, you can go to lakeshorelearning.com. And if you put lakeshorelearning.com/about, you will hear and see some of those partnerships, some of those special projects we've done. And then, of course, our main website, you can certainly play around and see all the different materials and things that we have to offer. And then, like Bobby mentioned, he's boots on the ground, right?
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I'm sure my card is definitely out there floating. I'm not sure what we're gonna put here, but I wouldn't have a problem putting my email address or my phone number as well. So I'm more than happy to be there and be that front of face partner for the school district.
That's excellent. I really want to say thank you to you all because the thing is that education can often get overlooked, and there are elements that are connected to that. So we just want to share our appreciation for what you do in Anne Arundel County,
Great.
but as well as for education in general for the region, because education is not an isolated thing. And so we need partners that are in other places to say, hey, this thing is working over there. Maybe you can try
Maybe
this
you could
as
try.
well.
Yeah.
And I think that
Right.
that's super important. So again, thank you for being here.
Sure.
And thank you. And remember to scan the QR code to send your questions and feedback for today's guest. And thank you for watching Open for Business.